Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pasta Jardula here.
And I'm Fiorella.
And I'm trying to get us on gallery mode so I can see everything that's going on, fam. I'm like lost right now, but oh well. Hope everybody's happy today. Well, Happy New Year. How do you say it in Russian, fam?
I don't know. I know other things.
I'm going to start addressing everybody. Happy New Year, my cosmonauts. So I can wear my Russian space shuttle shirt and feel proud of it, fam. By the way, they just had some people come back from Russia not too long ago. They shot a movie in space. Russia did. Russia. Yes, they did. And you know what the producer said as the director and the lead actress and the other actress landed in Kazakhstan when he came out? I'm very happy. They didn't just get 100% of the footage they needed. They got 120% of the footage they needed. So the Russians are ahead of us, fam. They're shooting movies in space. Our brains are in space and we're pointing a finger at each other, fam. So my New Year's resolution is to make sure that I build a bridge with those who don't see eye to eye.
Yes, fam, I agree, especially with the new Cold War era emerging. By the way, we will leave to Nicaragua soon, so at the end of the show, let's make sure to put our GoFundMe up because of help. Tickets are expensive as hell this time, especially. Yeah. But guys, let's get started. I do have to be at KRTV for Sabby Sab's end of New Year bash as soon as I'm done with the show. So we wanted to still do a show, you know, a Happy New Year show. By the way, very, very sad news. Betty White passed away today, 99 years old, one day away from 2022. You know, 99, she didn't quite make it to 100. Henry Kissinger is still alive. I said, this is the worst, most wretched timeline because we have Henry Kissinger outliving Betty White. And people were like, well, that's because he sucks the blood of children and he's a vampire. So Betty wasn't, so.
Poor Betty. She was the best thing about the Golden Girls. By the way, fam, would you be surprised if I told you that Trey Wright was the first in the door on the Rokfin?
No, fam, I wouldn't be surprised. Trey is awesome. We love Trey Wright. And shout out to Roar Media, too. Roar Media in the house. It says, Pasta, please define the word whatchamacallit. Sincerely, Loki of Roar Media.
I don't use the word whatchamacallit. I use the word a whatnot, which is a Brooklyn terminology. And by the way, Trey did say keep up the top journalism. So that's why we love our boy Trey Wright. But fam, whatchamacallit to me is nothing more than a Hershey bar with like a bunch of Rice Krispies in it with a little dry nougat. I thought it was overrated. Didn't like the whatchamacallit. Very sad.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of all that, fam. I'm not a fan of chocolate. It's weird.
Well, okay. You guys don't eat candy. You guys don't drink soda. You guys are just like, you know, I was talking about how you guys hit it hard in the gym this year. You guys are all health nuts. I got to be more like you guys out there.
I don't know, fam. You don't get sick ever either, so.
I know it's weird. It's like my immune system's ridiculous. And I do have a lot of lovely moments in the kitchen that I always like to look back on and stuff. But, you know, we have to have good balance. So maybe you can cook some dinners this year and I'll go to the gym. What do you say, fam? New Year's resolution?
Fam, you don't want that to happen. You don't want me to cook dinners for you.
Well, you make the best cereal. And nobody makes cereal better than you. You pour
Fam,
milk,
all right.
just right.
Fam, let's get to it because we got some stuff to go over. Before we, so guys, everybody like and share the YouTube stream, and of course, obviously, the Rokfin. Make sure to like us as well. Again, we're getting shadow banned. Shout out to Primo Radical. I think I want to have him on soon because he's been really, really just hit hard by YouTube's, you know, Nazis, the YouTube Nazis. They're going back through old videos. It's happened to us. They give us a strike for old videos, so they're looking through. So be very careful. So, speaking of the elite, the predator class, Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty on 5 charges. But the question is, what about everybody else, right? They're like tying this up in a bow, saying, okay, it's done. But Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein sexually trafficked girls to who? Teddy bears? In ghosts? Come on. Those people are not being held accountable. So we're going to discuss that today. So, this article from ABC just basically, you know, reiterated that she was found guilty of luring girls for sexual abuse by financier and pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. And the verdict came after a month-long trial, right? And our friend Addie Ads has been covering that, featuring sordid accounts of the sexual exploitation of girls as young as 14, told by 4 women who described being abused as teens in the 90s. And early 2000s at Epstein's palatal homes in Florida, New York, and New Mexico. So the jury deliberated for 5 days before they came into a guilty verdict for 5 out of the 6 charges. So now I'm going to go over this video. I want us to show this video by Addy Ads, because he was live there right outside the courthouse when this was all going on. So I want to take a look at his video, but he said Ghislaine Maxwell has been found guilty by a trial of her peers on counts 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 5 out of 6, and partial convictions, partial acquittals, as I predicted. So let's hear what he says, and then we'll go on and break it down.
Okay, guys. I literally got in there right as they were reading the verdict. Guilty on 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. To repeat, 5 out of 6 counts. Guilty. So I was right. It's partially guilty, partially acquitted. I would say more convictions than I was expecting. Again, 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it sounds like all the conspiracy charges, and then looks like one of the enticements didn't make it, surprisingly. Let me make sure I'm recording here. Okay. Wow, crazy stuff. I literally, Joe Neerman was right behind me, and then he got like, I lost him there in security. I rushed in, I went to the first floor. They were packed. I went up to the 5th floor. There was 4 people there, so I got in the jury box right away. As I was walking in, Judge Nathan, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, juror number whatever. Is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number whatever. Is this your verdict? Yes. And they went around. They all said yes. And I saw Maxwell. Not a hugely visible emotional reaction that I could see from her. Maybe she's in shock. I don't really know. But I wanted to get in and out as quickly as I can. As far as I know, I was the first one out, besides maybe the lady over there. But crazy stuff here, folks. I was not foreseeing this ending today. I thought this was going to go into the new year. But here we are, guilty once again. Counts 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I will clarify what those are again in a second here. Stay.
Okay, so fam, before I get your reaction, I just want to go over what the part, he said he was going to clarify. I have right here the direct paper of the counts. You guys can see for yourselves. United States versus Ghislaine Maxwell, the defendant. Count 1, conspiracy to entice individuals under the age of 17 to travel in interstate commerce with intent to engage in illegal sexual activity. Guilty. Count 2 is the only one she wasn't found guilty on. Enticement of individual under the age of 17, Jane only, to travel with intent to engage in illegal sexual activity. Not guilty. Count 3, conspiracy to transport individuals under the age of 17 to travel in interstate commerce with intent to engage in illegal sexual activity. Guilty. Transportation. Count 4, of an individual under the age of 17, Jane only, with intent to engage in illegal sexual activity. Guilty. Count 5, conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of individuals under the age of 18. Guilty. And count 6, sex trafficking of an individual under the age of 18, Carolyn only. Guilty. So those are all the counts, so you guys can see them for yourself. Sam?
I did a show the other day really quickly. I wanted to have something on, a little opinions from Jason Burmis. It's on our Rokfin. You can check it out because it's always great to understand what's going on and look at the nuances behind these things. And fam, I'm going to admit something right now to the world that I really don't want to admit, because what we need to start doing, and it's about all the sections today, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? We have to start thinking in a chess mentality. We have to start thinking 2 moves ahead. We have to start decoding, why are they telling us this? Why are they doing this? And what message are they trying to get us to see? Where are they trying to move us, right? The thing I'm going to admit is that Fam is the best chess player in the house. I hate to say it, and I played a lot of chess in my life. No, I'm going to say that because I can see myself making a move and your shit-eating grin that you have, because you're already thinking 2 moves ahead. You're one of the hardest players I've ever had to play. We need to transition that. And I have that too, because I'm a poker player. I'm always thinking, what's it going to be the odds, the next cards here and there? What does that person have? We need to start transitioning that thinking to what's going on with our social issues, with our political issues, and with issues like this. Because, Adiad just said something that was really important. He goes, I thought this thing was going to go on a lot longer, but why wait longer? Why not get it out before New Year's Eve? Let people be consumed with what's going on for New Year's, what they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Let it fizzle out. The longer you can delay any type of like serious dialogue or people thinking about it. So as long as the trial was going on, people were opening up more of Pandora's boxes and looking into more things. So they want this to go away, fam, right?
Yeah.
They don't want the elites. They don't want the elites to be accountable for, what they've done. Like you said, who were they sex trafficking these girls to? Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, to puppy dolls and whatnot? No, we know the people that were involved that will never get called to justice. So that's why they'll use distractions and they'll never show us anything. Let me let you go on because I know you're going to talk about the next part about what they hid and what they didn't show us. Go ahead.
Right. So there was this whole debate because Jack Posobiec and other right-wingers posted that the judge sealed the intelligence documents after the Ghislaine Maxwell verdict. But in reality, it's people have been saying the Newsweek denied it, and we're going to go over that. But the real thing that happened is it was sealed at the beginning of December, and it was always going to be sealed. So Hotep Jesus said, why did the judge seal the intelligence documents after the Ghislaine Maxwell verdict? Avi Yamini said, Ghislaine Maxwell found guilty, but judge orders all details on Epstein network to be sealed. In summary, it's worse than all the conspiracy theories. So basically what happened was that they were claiming that they sealed these documents. But then Newsweek comes out and Adam Klasfeld, the managing editor of Law and Crime, reported on the case in person and said, no, this isn't true. He disputed the claim. And that's according to Newsweek. He told the Daily Dot, I'm not quite sure what that even means, but insofar as I can make sense of the claim, it's easily disproven. Quite a bit of information about Epstein's associates is already in the public record. Newsweek was unable to find any public record of a new judgment having been passed in relation to documents about the case following the verdict. So they were going back and forth. The liberal media was saying it's just a bunch of right-wing conspiracy theorists, especially because Jack Posobiec was one of the first people to post it. And so then what happens is if you go back to the Times publication from the UK, they talk about how in the beginning of December 13th, Ghislaine Maxwell's little black book was to remain secret in a court deal. So the prosecution and defense in the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell agreed that her little black book of contacts will never be made public, even though the jury was allowed to see a part of it. Judge Alison Nathan ruled at Manhattan Federal Court that only a limited amount of material from the British socialite's contacts book would be released under seal. So the reality is it was somewhere in the middle that they decided that a month ago, basically, that they were going to seal this document, and a lot of people didn't know about it, so it came back into the media, and people were like, oh, they did this after the verdict. The truth was they had already decided they were going to seal the little black book and all of this. Now, why does Ghislaine Maxwell, a socialite, ties to Mossad via her father, get to have this sealed for her? I mean, how does that happen? How does that happen, fam?
Well, it's alleged of Mossad, fam, right? Okay, right. just to say, but fam, it's still part of the bigger picture that a lot of people are not paying attention to. You just pointed out the way that's going back and forth between Jack Posobiec and the liberal media and stuff. They haven't shown us anything, fam. Right. Not even they've shown us the tip of the iceberg, but most of this iceberg is underwater. And there's other things that you can say and you can point to that are so huge that they'll never show us. Like, number one, they never raided New Mexico, right? That is where transhumanism is being practiced, according to Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. According to the New York Times, for crying out loud, they even admitted that transhumanism was being practiced. They had to get that information out there and stuff like that. But we never saw what's in there. We never saw what's underground. They never showed the public. What about all the tapes they took away from the New York mansion? Remember, like, oh my God, they got these tapes. Oh, we're going to see these tapes, fam. We haven't seen anything. Bupkis, nothing, nada, zero. And then finally, why didn't they let Virginia Dufresne Roberts testify? One of the most important witnesses out there who could have named so many names. So they never give you anything. They never show you anything. They just give you the white noise because it's been so politicized, fam, that one side, if you're a leftist or a Democrat or whatever the hell you want to call yourself nowadays in America, you're going to be anti Epstein stuff because it infringes more of your party, supposedly, right? Whereas if some of us on the outside who don't play team sports We want to see it all. We want to know what Trump's involvement is, what Bill Gates' involvement is, what Les Wexner's involvement is, but we'll never get it because we have two set of rules: rules for thee and rules for me, and you know all about it.
Exactly. And just to wrap up the section, I want to show a couple of tweets from people. This person said, so I guess Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficked all those girls to no men? And Ricky Rance said, Ghislaine Maxwell took the fall for the elites. And by took the fall, he doesn't mean that they're innocent. He means that they're just, you know, they did this whole trial, this whole debacle that got very little mainstream media attention on purpose to satisfy the plebs, to say, look, we're going to put her behind bars, right? We're going to find her guilty, but they're never going to go after the rich and powerful that she and Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficked these girls into. And that's the frustrating part. That's what a lot of people, you know, who are satisfied with this are missing. I think more people though, fam, are like us, and they understand that this is not okay. I mean, this is just, you know, the tip of the iceberg, as you said. And also, it's interesting that Ghislaine Maxwell is receiving a 65 maximum year, right? That's the maximum she could get, 65 years. Meanwhile, Julian Assange, right, is sitting in prison, in Belmarsh prison right now. You know, they approved the extradition into the United States, the High Court did. And so now we have him in very dire health conditions, dire mental state as well. And he's facing 175 years of jail time for what? For being a publisher. And so you just see how different the justice system works when you are somebody that protects the predator class versus somebody that exposes them, right? So just wanted to make that point.
Absolutely. And fam, it's like we've been talking about this for a long time. My final statement is it's all connected. A lot of people with Epstein in his circle have a lot of stuff to go around with big pharma, with military industrial complex, with DARPA, all this stuff. Everything that we're seeing in front of our eyes, it looks like one class protecting themselves while the rest of us are just on the bottom level, fighting over the scraps and arguing, playing team sports. You know, you'd be surprised, fam. You think a lot of people are like us. I would really hope to think that, but you had the Netflix series that made Epstein look like just a couple of bad apples and not really expose the bigger picture. Now you got this case over here where they're just going to look at them as bad apples and not really kind of look at the whole bigger picture, which is how many people were involved. Who were they sex trafficking these kids to? And remember, at the end of the day, they were children, fam. And that's a big sin. They were using our children as currency.
Exactly. So I think we got some Super Race fam before we go on to the next section.
Yes, we do. We have Leonard Trust Fund. Hello from the free state of Texas. Let's go. Love you all. Happy New Year, my friend. Leonard Trust Fund. And then we have Slow News Day. Van Housen Mafia, stand up. Love you, fan. Van Housen Mafia, stand up. God, I love Slow News Day. I love Glory. I love Steve.
Shit. Steve says his dad taught him chess.
Gosh. What's that?
I'll have to play Steve against Steve. Me and Steve will need a chess match. We'll see what happens.
Oh my God. I'll put money on you. Like I'll put my money on
Steve
you
is
for the
pretty
Bitcoin
smart.
Debate. Steve is good.
He predicts a lot of things.
Let's do it live.
We'll do it live. Johnny said
no pressure.
I'm betting money on Fiorella. As long as Fiorella
Johnny would bet against me because he's obnoxious like that. Okay, so next section, guys. We had to show this, fam. We had to show this because it's kind of a running joke. You know, we're saying America is falling apart, and I'll tell you, I went to the store yesterday. There were no limes. There was no chicken. There's a lot of things missing. People are freaking out too because of Omicron, and it's everywhere. We're all gonna get this virus. And so what's happening is we have a lot of people not working. I went to Chipotle the other day and I get there and they're like, oh, this is online ordering only. And it's like, because they don't have enough people working there. So it's this whole set of events where everything is just like falling apart. And then on top of that, you have climate change or DARPA or a combination of the two where you have these ridiculous things happening. You know, it's been raining in California, particularly snowing in the north, and in the south, in SoCal, LA, it's been cold and raining really hard to the point of flood. So the empire is falling, and it's falling, you know, in the economic structure, but it's also falling when you look outside and you see what the hell's going on. Check this out. Yesterday, fam, there were these floods in LA, and you can see right here, this is Union Station. Let's take a look at Union Station.
No, that's on your way to the Gold Line and to the other trains to get to Orange County and stuff. That's crazy.
You believe that?
Wow.
I know.
That's nuts. Well, we say this all the time. LA is not like Florida. It's not prepared for flooding. It's not ready for rain. You know what I'm saying? It's like code red on the roads when it rains out there. Everybody's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got to drive.
And so,
it's wet.
Yeah, that on top of that, but the fact that the subways are flooding, you know, that just rats and whatever else comes out. And so then when people went camping, right? People go camping sometimes. I think it's the worst time to camp right now because it's been so rainy, but people went camping and a creek overflowed in the Leo Carrillo State Park campground in Malibu. And this was, of course, in California. Several campers got stuck and vehicles in the parking area were submerged. The LA County fire crews helped people get to higher ground. I mean, this is LA. I mean, this is our area, like Malibu. It's like, what, an hour from Pasadena? Not that far. So there's been a lot of just like wet in LA County and right around that area. And then, oh, this was wrong. That should have been somewhere else. Skip 14, Johnny. No, just slide 14, skip that one. 15, slide 15 is the California floods. You guys can see the campers there as well.
Southern California.
It looks like a river.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, I hope they're doing something. Don't they say we have a water shortage in California? I hope they're finding a way, instead of just running this all around the muck, can't we collect this and use this somehow? I mean, I don't want to get away from the bigger picture, fam, is that, you know, through means of, you know, corporations and burning of fossil fuels and dirtying our water and fracking and all these other things, it does have effect, which a lot of people want to ignore. Also, a lot of the beef we consume too as well, and what it's doing to the grounds and everything. But, you know, also the other flip end is that, you know, we know in a lot of states it's illegal to collect rainwater and stuff, which just blows my mind, and it's ridiculous. So I would hope that, and I would bet against, but I would hope that we would find a way to actually take this water that we would eventually need and reuse it somehow, but I bet we won't.
You would think. So right on the opposite end of the spectrum, right, you guys can figure out what I'm going to show next. Colorado has been experiencing ridiculous fires. I know we saw last week or 2 weeks ago the tornadoes, right, in the Midwest. Well, now Colorado is having fires in the middle of December. And here is this thread by Dylan Thomas. He did a really great thread, just pretty much talking about everything. So emergency responders had to evacuate towns of Superior and Louisville, Colorado. Thousands of people were rushing to evacuate. 2 large grass fires have burnt properties and are threatening more. And that is CBS Denver, CBS News. And you can see the people, and I'll just talk through it, Johnny. You can see the people like evacuating and how smoky it is. And we're kind of used to this because this is
soot.
Yeah, this is what happens in California, but when it's hot, not in the winter. And in the second tweet below it, you can see people evacuating malls and stores. So, you know, it's the holidays, people are shopping and stuff. They have to evacuate these malls and stores in the middle of the day. It's chaos. It's crazy. And it's so hard to see when you're driving around this too. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It really, it's just, I see it metaphoric. Like, you know, like I see all of this happening, like tornadoes, fires, floods. Like it's very...
It's like a live horror movie, fam.
Yeah.
This is a great time for us to go out there and film a movie. Like, remember the movie The Fog? When the fog came in, a bunch of evilness came there. That's what that literally looked like as they're running out of that mall in Colorado. It's like they were starting to run, and people were like, "Where's my car? I can't see nothing," and they're starting to run.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's hard, yeah, and you don't know, you can't see, so you might drive the wrong way, accidents, and of course now you have COVID, right? You have Omicron, you have that on top of it. It seems like the plagues of, what is it? What's the book?
I don't know which
Revelations.
one it is. I was going to say like the last testament of whatever.
Bad Catholic. It's Revelation.
Leviticus, or I'm a bad Catholic too as well. The sun looked biblical there. It looked like bloody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You guys better go into a church. It's been a long time. You need to light a candle just in case,
Fam,
okay?
you
Go light
know,
a candle.
we used to go to church on
Just in
Christmas
case.
Eve at midnight, and that stopped like a couple of years ago, but we used to go midnight mass.
We used to do that too. My mom now went Christmas Day Mass, and I went with her just to be a good son.
I liked going at midnight because it's, I don't know, it's dark. Anyway, so Robert Gutierrez also had a video. He said, Boulder fire behind Costco in Superior, Colorado. Thanks to the guy in the truck for saying to turn around. Let's watch this video.
Oh my God. Holy shit. This is in Superior, guys, right now,
Oh,
in
whoa.
Boulder. I can't see shit. I can't see shit. Turn around. We're gonna get crashed on, guys. God help us right now. God help us. Holy fuck! Holy fuck! Holy shit! Holy shit!
God.
Holy fuck! Did you guys just see that? Holy fuck! No way! Oh my God.
So,
And there's nowhere to go from there, right, fam? Like people got to understand now. Like, oh, just turn around and go the other way, dummy. Like, no, when these fires start going, they jump freeways in California on a regular basis. Literally jump freeways from one side to the other, and it's just a fiery bridge now. So it's not like there's any place to go. This is actually a natural disaster of sorts, a catastrophe. You know what I'm saying? It might not be as awful as certain things, but this could be very deadly. This could be very bad.
that was scary because that was right in front of him. And the thing is, because you can't see where you're going, you might be going the wrong way. You might be going towards it instead of away from it. So,
Might be going
dangerous
to a car
situation.
head on, like you said.
Yeah. So there's just a couple more pictures of just like what it looks like from far away. You guys can see the flames. And then just it's actually, you know what's interesting? It's in a place where there's a lot of people, like malls, and usually these fires happen in areas where it's like forests and trees, nothing else. But in this case, it happened a lot near civilization, which is the scary part because that's when you get people who they don't expect it, and then they might get stuck there. And the last thing I wanted to say is that I retweeted this and I said, a live look at the American empire right now, because like I said, it's kind of symbolic of the entire situation of America right now. The fire's burning. It says at least 580 homes lost in Superior. That's a lot of homes for a fire. Like I said, most of the time it's in a rural area, but also like with everything happening, you got COVID, you got Omicron, you got Biden administration, you got economic depression, you got like all of these things happening. And on top of that, you have climate change. And it's just symbolic for what is happening to this country right now. You got, people are running out of food. They're running out of just things that they normally had. So it's kind of like representative of really what this country is. It's falling apart. We have an empire in decay. We have the empire falling right before us. And so for me, it was just so representative of really what we're experiencing right now, where everything just seems like a mess. Like I said, you go to the store, they're out of this or out of that. They don't have workers. Everybody, the CDC goes back and forth, and we're going to talk about that. It's just like, it's a mess. It's a giant mess, and it's like crumbling before us.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like we're well prepared, right?
Right.
And I think this is the time when a lot of socialist or far leftists are like, well, these are the things we need as a society, as a state, to work on together to make sure that we handle them properly. Not just on the back end where we have to take care of these firefighters, where we have to combat them and whatnot. It's on the front end. One of the biggest sins that Gavin Newsom committed was the fact that he went short on the fires, forest fire prevention. In other words, they wanted strategic burns, and they found out that he didn't do these strategic burns in these certain areas, which allow these fires to spread. And then you go even deeper and like, well, what are we doing? What are we putting into the air? What's going on? What are we putting into our water? When we frack, how do we do this? You know what I'm saying? What's really happening? So I think that this is kind of goes to the point where you see a lot of people who are somewhat socialist. They say these are the reasons why we need to do that, because as a society, we have to work together. We have to make sure that our state is spending its money and its time and its resources on the right things, including these type of things and what they're witnessing here in Colorado.
100%, fam. And somebody mentioned, I saw in the chat, things are more expensive. Things are ridiculously more expensive. I mean, everything. Even in Florida right now, my friend was telling me it was cheaper for them to buy a house because the rents are like $1,800 for a 1-bedroom, and that's just your rent. Like, I mean, this is Florida here, where you still have bartenders and servers making, $6, $5 an hour. You don't have, it's not like in California where people are making like $13, $14, $15 an hour. So you have inflation to the point of insanity, and you have people from California and New York moving here because they're trying to, get away from the mandates, but it's also cheaper here slightly, and they have more money, and they're coming out and they're out buying and outbidding people in Florida. And so that just raises the price of everything, and everything has gone up except wages. And so what you're seeing is just everything falling apart, and in every facet.
It's funny because in Boca Raton, I filmed this the other day, fam. So it's ridiculous because the people in the restaurant business now, and I'm not talking about, and it's weird because Boca Raton a little bit more older, right? A lot more older, let's be honest and stuff, but they have a few bucks over here. The sit-down restaurants are booming like I've never seen before. Like lines out the door. My mom wanted to go to this restaurant the other day, and it was an hour and a half wait. So we went around the corner. I'm like, well, let's just go to this old school Thai restaurant they have. I can get some vegan stuff there. I'll tell them to take the egg out of my pad Thai. And we go around the corner, and there's lines out the door. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, the fact that the state is more open, whatnot. And a lot of people, and this is something I'm seeing in a positive note. And I hope it's just not the older generation, because the Chipotles were slow. The other restaurants, every single fast food restaurant was slow as can be. They were open, but they were slow as can be, except for Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A is one of those anomaly. But it seems like there are some people who want to get back to human experience, to reality of sorts of, hey, what's the best thing here? Oh, bring me this, or make that relationship. And just, come on, I want to go, I don't have to do dishes tonight. I can go out to a good restaurant. And I talked to a friend who's waiting tables now, and he's making more money than he's ever made. Yeah, once again, he hates the fact that, he gets a low wage and whatnot, but at least he's experiencing some of that kind of humanism again, where people are just wanting to feel human again and go out to restaurants, sit down and being taken care of. So I think we need to find a good mixture of both. I understand how convenience for these restaurants when it comes to Chipotle, just pick up the phone, have it delivered over here. We're doing hard work. We have a lot of stuff to go. We ain't got time to sit down and go out and do that. But we have to find a nice mixture between the both. And when it comes to what's working all around with Omicron, sometimes I think that's at jeopardy, that they want us to digress to simply press a button and let somebody bring you food.
Yeah, but that also requires money, because it takes money to literally go out and sit down and eat at a restaurant, and tip people and all of that.
Another
so
issue.
Not everybody has
Absolutely.
the privilege of having that money to go out and spend in restaurants. So that's also a huge part of it.
If they save up to do it, whatnot, really, to tell you the truth, that is something you're absolutely right, fam. At the end of my career in the restaurant business, what I saw was a lot of families saving up just to do that one day because it cost them that much. It was that expensive, you know what I'm saying? That it really, and we shouldn't be at that realm. Not to say that we should have enough money to go out all the time every night, but we should be able to have a nice mixture between the two. And you're right, it seems like it's the has or the has-nots that get to participate in certain areas of society, and that is not right. You're right. The bigger picture has got to be looked upon heavily.
Okay, fam. Do we have any? Or are we good to go?
No super rays.
All right. So let's move on to this section. Now we have to be careful when we're just going to report.
Absolutely.
No. So the CDC is what? Okay, so the CDC is going to stop the use of the RT-PCR test flu and the COVID are indistinguishable according to them. Now, this was a few months ago. This was never changed, right? This was a press release from a few months ago. So just wanted to say that. Did you want to say something, Jonathan? Yeah.
They don't say that they're not indistinguishable explicitly. They don't say that. The CDC, what they said here, I put out a tweet.
Yeah, we have
because
your tweet.
I suggested. I feel like it suggests that they're basically getting rid of the PCR, RT-PCR tests, and I'll read exactly what it says. It says after December 31st, 2021, CDC will withdraw the request of the U.S. FDA emergency use authorization of the CDC 2019 novel coronavirus real-time PCR diagnostic panel. It was first introduced in February 2020 for detection of SARS-CoV-2 only. So in preparation for the change, CDC recommends clinical laboratories and testing sites that have been using the RT-PCR test to begin their transition to another FDA-authorized COVID-19 test. The CDC encourages laboratories to consider adoption of a multiplex method that can facilitate detection and differentiation of SARS-CoV-2 and influenza viruses. So in my tweet, I highlighted this sentence because I felt like it suggested that the PCR test cannot differentiate between COVID and the flu. But after, in the sentence after, it says such assays can facilitate continued testing for both influenza and SARS-CoV-2 and can save both time and resources as we head into the influenza season. So I think they want a 2-in-1 test is what they're saying. So perhaps I misunderstood that. So that's what I wanted to say.
Okay. For me, it looks like
I can barely hear the last sentence, what he said, so I was trying to listen as much as I can. What was the last sentence you said they said, Johnny, or Fam can read it for us? I can't hear it.
It said CDC encourages laboratories to, so that's the first sentence. CDC encourages laboratories to consider adoption of a multiplex method that can facilitate detection and differentiation of SARS-CoV-2 and influenza viruses. Such assays can facilitate continued testing for both influenza and SARS-CoV-2. It can save both time and resources as we head into influenza season. And like I said earlier, I said, I thought it meant something, but maybe it means something else. It's very ambiguous, honestly. It shouldn't be this ambiguous.
right. So, Pasta, I'll let you say something, but for me, from what I understood and from what I read, the current PCR tests that they were using, the United States PCR test, is unable to distinguish really between the flu influenza virus and the COVID-19 virus. So it's what's happening is it's marking, and this was talked about months ago, that the test is marking, giving false positives a lot of times. So this is nothing new that was done months ago. We've talked about this on other terms. So this just like reiterates that fact. Now, it's not all PCR tests in general. This is the specific PCR test from the United States. So that's what it seems like to me. And it seems like they're saying that they want testing for both of them. They want to develop a test that can test for both of them at the same time, but tell you what is what. Whereas right now, it's hard for it. You can infer based on what they're saying that they're not getting a full answer. If you go take that test, you're not going to know. You could have the flu and it could come out positive for SARS-CoV-2. And that's what I got from this as well.
I think you guys hit it on the nose. The thing is that it's not the PCR test itself. It's the way they're using the PCR test, right? And they showed this in the movie Contagion, I believe. I can't remember. I saw this months ago when I was looking into this. And it's the fact that they're using it at a high cycle threshold, which will then in detail pretty much find anything. It will pop positive all the time. And the reason why I think it's important for us to discuss this because, once again, thinking with that chess mentality, what's the next move? What are they going to do? What are they going to try to move us into? With the director of the CDC just coming out and saying this stuff, I look at it as more as like damage control and then try to pivot us into where, right? What's the next thing? What are they going to do? Because there are companies out there, different companies that are using PCR, but using it in a different way. They're not using it as and Johnny, correct me if I'm right or wrong here, a diagnostic test. In other words, it's not used for diagnosis. It's used as a jumping part, a jumping point to say, okay, something's going on. We have to do more to find out actually what virus is in there. And this kind of alluded me to when we had Dr. McCullough on our show, and we asked them, they said, hey, what about these tests? And this is the one area I was a little confused with. He said, no, I think the people who are in that industry will be able to find out what's what and how to use things. We kind of glossed over it, fam. So I want to make sure that when we talk about this, and once again, this is something they talked about. It's a press release. They said it in a press conference a long time ago that this particular PCR test will be going away at the end of December because it will no longer be used in the emergency use authorization. Because why? What you said, it can't differentiate between the flu or COVID. So that's why they're doing this. But the whole thing about it is that why did they wait till now to do this? And what does that mean about all the testing that's been taking place in a long time, for a long, long time? So there are a lot of questions to be asked and what's going on and to figure out, I'm saying, the next move.
Yeah, 100%. Anything, did you want to say anything, Jonathan, on that?
Yeah. I mean, what I'm very clear on is that this was released July 21st. That's July, right? January, February. Yeah, that's July. July 21st. And there's been no update to this press release, so I don't know what's going to happen after today. If they withdraw this, like what tests are they using, it's not clear. And it's just, a lot of things aren't clear when they should be clear. There's a lot of ambiguity in the air, and this is why there's so much supposed misinformation and all that out there.
He hit it on the nose there. They're leaving this very murky for a reason, and I'm going to show you something. I have a clip coming up, in a little bit that will even kind of add to the confusion and stuff, and saying it's like, wait a second, you just said this, now you're saying that. So, I put down here, this tweet over here. This means for the past 21 months, and this is after the CDC, the head of the CDC, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, came on and said, the guidelines don't require testing at the end of isolation because the PCR test can stay positive for up to 12 weeks. CDC Director Dr. Walensky tells, and then this gentleman left a tweet right below it, and it says, you mean that for the past 20 months, people sat at home for extra days and extra weeks because their test came back were with an irrelevant positive? We didn't know this 6, 12, 18 months ago? Really? And then I just have the next clips of, this is November 2020. The Portuguese court rules the PCR tests are unreliable and quarantines are unlawful. And once again, I think they weren't alluding to the specific PCR test. They were looking at PCR in general. And I got to think that I want to point it out there that we can't think that PCR in general is a wrong thing. PCR used properly, from what I'm witnessing, just my opinions, that if it's used differently, not as a diagnosis, but as a jumping point, can actually be a positive thing. The next one says, Austrian court rules PCR tests are not suitable for the COVID-19 diagnosis, and that lockdowns has no legal basis. Now that's in April 8th, 2021. And then I have something from August 20th, 2020, the World Health Organization coronavirus PCR test primer sequence is found in all human DNA. So from what I saw in the movie Contagious, right, or Contagion, it's the cycle threshold what they're using, which is too high, and therefore you're going to have a lot of false positives. And they're not clear about these things.
I'm a little confused on the last one. Where is this from? What source?
Oh, I didn't put it down there. It's on the Complete Guide to Health. I'm sorry, I didn't put it down there. My bad. You told me make sure I put my sources there.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about in that particular situation was, and what the video I watched on it too, was that, in other words, it turns RNA into DNA, right? And that the sequence that they're using, the cycle threshold is so high that it's going to be found in all DNA. That therefore you're going to have a lot of a positive test.
Yeah, false positives.
Because the false positives, because the cycle threshold that they're using is found in almost all DNA. And I think that's the whole concept of the test. I'm trying to understand it, is to turn RNA into DNA, therefore they can detect things. once again, I'm not a scientist, and I'm trying to understand this. I read so many articles yesterday and watched so many movies yesterday just to try to understand what's going on, because I was so, stuck at the point. I was like, why is this company, using a PCR test? I thought PCR are not good. It's like, no, it's the way they're using the PCR. You know what I'm saying? And I'll get more into that as we get to the next section, as I hold my opinions back.
Okay, so you already discussed Rachel Walensky?
Well, the one from Good Morning America, though, this is the thing that's crazy, that this was the other day, that even though they say they're moving away from it, they say that if your antigen test doesn't work, well, then go take a PCR. But I thought you were just saying that the PCR tests that we have aren't working. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. Just if you want to roll the quick clip and you can hear what she has to say, because once again, it's very ambiguous, it's very murky, and you don't know what to do. People are so confused. I'm sure they are.
Dr. Walensky, good morning. It's always good to have you. I want to start with that concerning announcement from the FDA that those rapid antigen tests may not be as sensitive at detecting the Omicron variant. The Biden administration is about to send out 500 million of these tests. Can they still be trusted?
Good morning, Whit. Thanks for having me. Yes, absolutely. So we do know that the most sensitive test that you can do is a PCR test. So if you have symptoms and you have a negative antigen test, then we do ask you to go and get a PCR to make sure that those symptoms are not attributable to COVID. But those antigen tests still work quite well, and they work well, especially in places that we're using like in higher education, in tests to stay in schools, where we're doing several tests, one every other day, every third day, and that's really when they work well as well. So we still are encouraging their use. They may not work as well as they had for the Delta variant.
Dr. Walensky, good.
So
you heard it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, well, if the antigen test doesn't work, go get a PCR test. I'm like, wait a second, I thought the PCR test doesn't work. What are we supposed to do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very confusing about what to do. In one hand, they're going, okay, these PCR tests that we're using are not reliable. You can't tell the difference between the flu and COVID. But on the other hand, if this antigen test doesn't work, go take a PCR test. You explain that to me, fam, how that makes any sense.
Okay. Well, I mean, honestly, it's just very confusing, because I feel like they keep going back and forth on what is and what isn't, which is, again, why people are extremely confused. I mean, for me, it just means like it's just not reliable in terms of being able to 100% tell apart. Also with the false positives is what they've been saying, kind of talking about. You have the recount here, CNN's Katie Collins. Is this from the next section, or is this, no?
We can play that in the next section.
Okay.
Let's play it in the next section, guys. We'll get up there. We'll put it into the next section.
Okay.
And it'll be part of the message. So let's just get on over to Rokfin now and finish up this last section, because you still have another gig.
We got to do the New Year's thing. I didn't know we were going to Rokfin only right away, but okay. I think Bill Gates and Soros, that's a Rokfin only?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think so, but okay.
All right, so just wanted to look back through the year. 2021, what we start with? We went to DC, and we went and saw, we had Jimmy Dore on to start off the new year. We were in DC here. You can see us here in front of the, what's that? What's the obelisk called?
The eclipse?
What?
The obelisk?
Oh, yeah.
In DC, yeah. What's that called?
The phallic symbol C.
Oh, you mean the Capitol building?
No, not the Capitol building.
They're talking about the thing, fam. Very, sticking up straight in the air.
Forgot, is it either the Jefferson Memorial or Jackson Memorial, Washington Monument, whatever, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's none of those.
So then Force to Vote was there, and Free Julian Assange rally. You guys remember that? We were there, Force to Vote. A bunch of cops showed up.
Divisiveness. We're seeing talks about Jimmy Dore being divisive, you being divisive.
Fee was talking, Pasta was talking. They were marching. We were marching. There was 30 people out there. That was back in January. That's how we started off the year. Of course, as you know, Force to Vote. Protest was held. Free Julian Assange protest out in front of the FBI. Here's Orf. We interviewed a bunch of people. Max Blumenthal was there. This is just to remember everything. Slow News Day. Steve Koikkonen was there, and you can see the live. Of course, January 6th happened. This is when we were trying to live stream the Capitol. It wouldn't let us. We only got like 1 minute there, 1 minute there. Then we released our video, in which multiple media companies took out our video. Raji was doing his lawsuit there, so we did a lawsuit coverage of that while we were in D.C. on the ground. And, you know, the narrative started coming out. So that was the start of 2021 for us, which was crazy. Pasta talked to somebody in the Capitol, you know, AOC. Remember John Sullivan here? I actually interviewed him a long time ago, which is funny. Chances of that. There was a MLK caravan event in Los Angeles. So yeah, Bernie's mittens became a meme. Magnus Panvidya, we interviewed Magnus in January. That's when we first interviewed Magnus there. And got into this whole Boogaloo Boy discussion. And Garland Nixon came on. Yeah, it's just a long year. It's been a crazy year. We also, let's keep going. I know we traveled some more throughout the year. We had Caleb on, Caleb Maupin, Teodros. Let's see. Time admitted the election was orchestrated. We had Justin Jackson on. Maricopa County election audit was on. We had Chris Smalls on from the Amazon protests. He was talking about his protest there. They're still protesting, I believe. Mm-hmm. Have you guys heard any updates from that?
No, just that AOC said she was going to show up and she didn't.
There was clubs for Assange that we went back to.
Yep.
We went back to D.C. Echo Park. Remember we were down in Echo Park. LA police and city threatened to raid Echo Park, so we went down there and watched that happen. They're arresting protesters. We interviewed Jafari from BLM 757.
Didn't we get Reverend Annie too?
Reverend Annie, yeah, it was released. I thought it was released on here. Yeah, it was released eventually. Reverend Annie, Jimmy Dore again on the couch. Just remembering the year here. What else? What else do we have here? Fee rant.
Peru's elections.
Oh, we went to Arizona 7 months ago for the Arizona audit. We were there. So you can see that footage. The whole process explained to us there. We interviewed John Brakey and other representatives of the Arizona legislature there. Palestine protests back in May. We went to those on the ground. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a great protest. Here's the Reverend Annie Chambers interview, which was amazing. Took a little bit to come out. We had Dan Nauman on. And the 1 year anniversary of George Floyd. We're on the ground there. Sunset Boulevard. Echo Park reopened. Went and checked it out. That's where we met Phoenix. Fee went to Peru internationally to watch the elections over there. She was live.
Fee went to Peru. I went to Atlanta.
Live in Lima. Pasta went to Atlanta.
And back then we were talking about sanctions and genocide in Ethiopia.
Right?
Yeah.
We did a show on the Grand Renaissance Dam almost 2 years ago. And it was like Ethiopia, and they're getting money from China. Watch the U.S. They're gonna get pissed off, And right now they're trying to overthrow the Ethiopian government, for crying out loud.
The FBI seized Press TV.
Yep.
That happened. Home run for Julian Assange. I interviewed Gabriel Shipton. And Pasta interviewed John Shipton.
He turned turtle.
Turn turtle farm.
Turned turtle. I loved it.
By the way, Teresa Alland left a Super Ray fam, and I am such a boomer that I don't know what LTF means.
Let me see.
Matching your LTF Mayoin, whether you are a cowboy or Indian from Arizona and California.
We had our Farce of July protest.
Yes, the Farce of July. Right? Did we make burgers?
I don't know.
Pasta made some really delicious
Anybody know
burgers.
about
We
these
had some
burgers?
people there.
Jimmy came, Steve was there, Gloria was yelling with the bullhorn. There she is. Ungi was playing music. Fun times.
Tara Reid. March for
Look at
Medicare
that.
for All.
Johnny got that banner made, by the way, that free Julian Assange banner.
He got censored at
job,
the
man.
March for Medicare for All.
Pasta got thrown out.
Pasta got thrown out.
Fam, I was being selfish and, should just listen to what people to tell me to do with my body and my whatever medical procedures that they think are fit. I should just shut up and get in line and do it.
You should.
Man, COVID broke people's brains.
Tim Black calls out the Convo Couch. You debated Matt Binder.
Oh, yeah. I killed Matt Binder.
We interviewed Max Kaiser.
Yeah,
Bitcoin
we did.
King.
That was great.
Bitcoin Bros.
Bitcoin Bros. Black in the Empire.
Yeah. Daryl.
And unapologetic. Dontel. We got Dontel.
And
out there.
unapologetic. He's great.
I got called spaghetti by somebody. The Matt Binder debate was fun.
Remember that?
Surprised he hasn't come back for more, fam.
Remember that bomber? Also, there was that bomber out front of suspected bomber, who lacked healthcare. out
Yeah,
front.
yeah.
Yeah, that happened. Line 3 pipeline protests happened. We had Sabby Sabs on, which you're supposed to be on here soon. Dr. Cynthia McKinney was on.
That was great. I
Max
loved him.
Blumenthal was on.
Yep.
Franco went and yelled at Cory Bush.
That was awesome.
Max Blumenthal too. Let's see. A lot of people lost unemployment on Labor Day.
Right, Molly?
End the damn wars on 9/11. I did a stream looking at everything over there happening that was happening there. Newsom recall election. We were out front of a voting center. AOC's merch shop.
Shadow Band. We have another Super Ray. Do you want to read it, Johnny, or Fee?
I can't read it.
You read it.
All right.
Pasta.
Johnny, I'm just going to read it as you're scrolling through. Go slow. Happy New Year's to you and yours at the Convo Couch, always with love. And this is from AREM, by the way. We love AREM. To convey all that's happened and all that's been and swirl in the contemporary madness pitted against oligarch class warriors and their neoliberal politicians, operatives, surrogates, and corporate media appendages. I think it's corporate media appendages, I guess that means.
Yes.
To take the white of light of what could be and synthesize it into something compelling against the propagandist. It's not easy. AREM, you're amazing. Thank you so much, by the way.
Guys, I gotta go. So
CIA plans to
Yeah, let's do
assassinate
this.
Assange.
We'll do the other section on Monday, fam. We can all add to it, and we'll prop
Yeah.
it up on another day and stuff like that.
We interviewed
But you're
Peter
going on
McCullough.
air right now. Let everybody know.
Huh? Sorry, you both
Let
were
everybody know
talking.
where you're going.
Oh, I'm gonna go to KRTV. Stop by there for a second. Yeah, Dr.
gonna
Peter
be on there
McCullough
later
was a
tonight.
great interview,
And then we went to Nicaragua, Honduras, and covered the elections there.
which was a big
Yeah.
deal.
We do have
Jonathan,
more
can
to
you pull up
come.
our GoFundMe? We're gonna go back there, guys. We need some help. As much as help as you can give us. If you can't afford to donate, please share. We're gonna go and cover pretty much the inauguration of President Daniel Ortega, and it's gonna be a big deal because there are a lot of relationships being built right now between China, Iran, Russia, and Nicaragua. So it'll be something interesting to watch. Last time, Pasta and I accidentally ended up with the Russian delegation when we came in, and it was hilarious. Pasta, whatever. It was not on purpose. It was just the way things happened.
Because Pasta's a chummy guy and makes friends with everybody and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Fam, you know what happened when I shook Ortega's hand? You know what he told me?
What do you say?
Yankee, go home. He didn't say that, but I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. So let me know when you have it. Yeah, if you guys can help us out, that'd be great. We really need all the help we can get. The flights, the tests we have to take for COVID,
Yeah.
expensive as hell. Hundreds of dollars for the three of us.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
it's like almost $500 for us all to take the tests.
This is a very important time too, fam. I think a lot of people like not realizing what a kind of like cataclysmic shift is going on when it comes to foreign policy or what's going on in Nicaragua right now. It's very, very important. So we're going to be there covering everything, and it's something you want to pay attention to, ladies and gentlemen, because it really does going to affect what we're going to do when it comes to our foreign policy in the global South. It's beyond important, and I can't stress enough and say thank you enough to those out there who really helped us get out there to these spots and get us boots on the ground. It's been all you guys, not the corporations and their corporate sponsors like they got. We've been people powered, and I want to thank you all for an amazing year, and thank you so much for following us.
We love you guys. Happy New Year. Maybe you'll see me on KRTV later at night. We'll see what happens. But
I'll be
please
there.
stay safe. I know you will be on. Pasta will be on. What time will you be on?
10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. I can't remember who's on with me. Savvy Sabs is there. I think JB Font will be there. Meg will be there. Misty will be there. So it's going to be a little fun over there. We have a pretty loaded panel. So come join us 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. I'll be on that show.
All right, guys. And I'm going to go head on over to KRTV right now. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back this Monday, with Bill Gates and George Soros teaming up to buy a COVID test company, guys. You don't want to miss that one. That one's going to be really good. Just follow the money. That's all we got to say.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Happy
The
New Year. We
irony,
love you. It's
fam.
a Happy New Year in Korea and Russia already.
Love you.
Pravda.